Moti.
Source of influencers.
What were the most important things you've learned since you've been an athlete?
Not to take my placings personal. I mean, I've had some really good. I've had 3 top 3 finishes this year, 2 second places from last year where I placed 12th, 14th, and 15th, and it was just frustrating all last year. It's like, what do you guys want from me? But I've learned that every judge is different, every show is different, and you can't take it. You can't take your placing personal. You'll talk to the judges, get some feedback, see what they were looking for that you didn't have at that particular show. But everything's so different. I mean, I had a show, I had placed 3rd, and then I came to Tampa and placed 14th. So it's kind of like within a week's time, it was just a week's difference. So it wasn't like, my body's still the same. I could not possibly have messed up, in a week. But every judge is different. So depending on the judge and what they're looking for, you gotta just kind of take it as is. So I was like, okay, don't take that, especially when you just had a good placing and then you come in and it's literally the complete opposite. Like if you took that personally every single time, you wouldn't compete. You just wouldn't. You can't. And then just be happy with the package that you bring. A lot of times I'm like, I know I dieted, I know I did my cardio, I know I went to the gym every day, and you just got to be okay with that. And I remember Kai Green had said that years ago. He's like, if you know you've done everything that you could do for your prep, then you got to be happy with that. It's not like, oh, I cheated on my diet and I did this and this, and then you wonder why you placed 15th. No, it's like that's why. But if you know you've done everything that you could do, then it is what it is. You can't, harp on that. And I remember seeing so many competitors who they'll complain about their placing, and then they'll post their picture up, and I don't know why I didn't place. Well, where are the other competitors that you have to still post? You can't just be so one-sided or think that you're just that much better than everyone else competing. I mean, we all have good days, we all have bad days. And especially at the Olympia, I mean, we're all at the Olympia, we're all good athletes. So it's yeah, so I just learned not to take everything so personal, and because if I did, I wouldn't still be competing, and I definitely wouldn't be here now if I let any of my placings last year dictate what was going to happen this year. I mean, I went after my last show, and my last show was I placed 15th, and I went and talked to the judges, and I was like, okay, we're clearly going into off season now, and let's redo the package, let's come back with a different look. And my look from last year to this year is just completely different. A lot leaner, a little bit smaller in size, but it's more streamlined. I think last year I had more of a bodybuilder look. I was bigger, but I also wasn't as lean as I am this year, and I think that made a big difference too. And then just the posing and continuously posing and getting better and better and presenting the package that I've trained for. So a lot of it gets, is the posing too. So yeah, I mean, I feel pretty good. I've definitely made a lot of changes this year, and yeah, but yeah, definitely not taking everything so personal, and a lot of times we still wouldn't be competing if that were the case. So
Do you think that fame on social media, amount of followers, can change something in placing on a show?
Yeah, that goes back and forth, I guess. I mean, I know some competitors that have a huge following, and I think it does kind of transition over to, I don't want to say it's a popularity contest, but I mean, I think there's times where it plays a role. If you're huge on social media and you have this huge following, and then the judges are following you, I mean, it plays a role, especially when you're when the audience knows you and they cheer. It affects how the judges, can place you sometimes. So, and I know there's some competitors who have these huge followings, and I'm like, all right, I'm not paying for followers. I'm just kind of doing me, and this is my following. But it can play a role. I feel like it can play a role sometimes, for sure. But I mean, it is what it is. That for me too is just one of those things too. I guess I don't necessarily get caught up in all that. I'm like, all right, I'm not, anything that I post on social media or I post on my Instagram is stuff that I post, or if anyone comments on my post, I respond. I'm a person, and I feel like a lot of times people get so caught up in, all their followers and stuff like that, and they don't really connect with them, they don't talk to them and stuff like that, but, I don't know.
Have you ever had that you went on stage and you prepared for the show for a certain amount of time, and that you felt the judges weren't even looking good?
Weren't looking at me even?
Yeah, maybe some athletes have this, that they might not even have looked or took the time to look. well.
Yeah, well, the last show that I did before this one, like, and that was a show that I didn't place in this year, and I, quite frankly, was quite upset about it. I normally don't necessarily get upset about it, but I had just placed third, literally 7 days prior, and from seventh, you placed me 14th. Now, the only thing was that I was coming to the Olympia, so I didn't get upset, but I feel like they definitely just overlooked me. My physique has been pretty consistent. I've been the most consistent this year. So I was a little upset after the last show in Tampa. I was just like, I don't really know what just happened. and everyone's kind of reaching out to me like, what did we just watch? I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea what just happened. So I was a little frustrated. I think this was probably one of the very few times as of late that I've been really frustrated with the placing and didn't really understand why. And normally I'll take my placing and be like, okay, maybe they're right, maybe. No, they were not right this time. But, judges are judges and there's not much you can do about it, so, yeah.
But were your competitors the same as the show where you placed third?
Yeah.
Or
it was the same quality. It was the same quality of competitors. There was no reason that I should have placed 14th, absolutely not. And I posted my pictures, I posted comparison pictures, because like for me, whenever I post stuff, even about a show, I post my photos, but I also post photos of whatever my class was. I'm not someone that's gonna just, oh my God, look at me, I should have won. Well, no, where's everybody else at? Like, I'm always gonna post all the placings, I always post up the scorecards, I always post up that stuff for, just be transparent or to show, like I don't care. But I'd say this is probably the one show that I was like, yeah, no, I don't understand. And even my coaches were like, okay, well, shake that one off and let's keep rolling. So, yeah, but it happens. What do you do?
Follow the Moti on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.